Hey, vinyl community, it's Glen Kellaway here. It's a Saturday afternoon in Ontario, Canada. I'm sitting here with Jack from Jack's Stereo Experience. Hey, Jack.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really good. We're
Yeah,
just chatting before we recorded. The weather's gorgeous here. We finally got some steady summer weather, and it's Bob Dylan's birthday on Monday. I know I'm doing a series with Sam St. John. That's going to be the final episode's going to be recorded on Monday on Bob's birthday. But there's enough to go around, and Jack and I want to talk about Mr. Dylan too, and in particular the trilogy of great albums that he released in 1965 and 66. What albums would they be, Jack?
we got bringing it all back home. We got Highway 61 Revisited. And finally, for a double album, Blonde on Blonde.
Wow. It just will never stop amazing me how a man could be so prolific for that couple of years and come up with so many incredible songs. Like any other songwriter would give their IT just to have written one of those songs on those albums. It's really an unbelievable period for Mr.
Yeah. He is a genius.
Yeah.
Nothing short.
Yeah, that's very cool. And birthday number 80 coming up on Monday. Wow. So we're just going to have a general discussion about these albums and the songs on them we like and our favorites and whatever else that comes to our mind at the time.
So if you saw our Stones video, we did the Stones from 68 to 73. It's basically going to be the same thing as that.
Exactly. Good point. Okay, so let's start with Bringing It All Back Home. Amazing album. Released early 1965, I think. March 1965. Recorded in January of that year over a 3-day period. But I think Bob had a few of the songs already written. Mr. Tambourine Man and definitely, and I'm not sure what others were ready to go before he got to the studio, but I know when you read about the time he spent before recording this album, he was up in Woodstock staying at his manager Albert Grossman's place, and according to Joan Baez, it was like Bob was at the typewriter 24 hours a frickin' day, just pounding out lyrics. So he was just in the zone.
He had it going.
Yeah. So I think this was the first Dylan album you bought, isn't it? You owned?
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, was there a reason you went for this one first, or just because it was the first of the three, or?
Well, yeah, because it was the first of the three, I think was a really big reason. But also, I watched Calico Silver, Jeff, his video on the guide to new Dylan fans, and he recommended this was like the number one album to start with. He went through his entire catalog and said of each period what would be the best, but he said overall this is the number one best to start with. So I went with it.
Well, Jeff's a good guy advice to follow because he's definitely a Dylan fan. There's no doubt about that. Knows his Dylan.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So when you first put the CD in the player, what struck you? What was the first impressions?
Well, I mean, starting off with such a great single, Subterranean Homesick Blues, and then the B-side, She Belongs to Me. I mean, great two songs right there. Fantastic. You know, going through the track listings, Maggie's Farm seriously blew my mind on first listen. It was like, holy,
Really?
what a cool song.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that song so much. And just the way he sings it, with like every time he describing one of the family members, and like, you know, she's 68, but she says she's 54.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then yeah.
Do you like the acoustic side better than the electric side, or the electric side better?
Well,
Or Oh, hold on a second. One more question. Were you prepared for the acoustic side after putting on the electric side first? Like kind of going, where's this going? You know, then all of a sudden it
Yeah,
changed direction.
yeah. No, I was, because I mean I'd heard Mr. Tambourine Man before many times. In fact, I hadn't heard the other three on side two, but yeah, I was very familiar with Mr. Tambourine Man, but still no less fantastic. And that just that second side, you know, the musical facets of it, but the the lyrics throughout that whole thing, you could pick out any single line, and it's like one of the greatest lines of poetry ever written. I mean, that's just what he does best, I guess. But that particular side is just been mind blowing, really, lyrically, anyway. But yeah, the
Yeah,
music too, fantastic.
yeah, yeah. It's an amazing album, so strong. But yeah, I didn't get this one. I bought. I mean, when back in the day, I bought Highway 61 before I bought Bring It All Back Home. I had to go back to get that one after getting blown away by Highway 61. But yeah, I mean, Subterranean Homesick Blues, like you said, what a great track. And it's such a great video too. You've seen the video, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the signs.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. Watch out for parking meters. And She Belongs to Me is a great song. Maggie's Farm, like you say, is awesome. I don't know if you've ever heard when Dylan did the Rolling Thunder tour in '75. They went back out on the road in '76 and tried to kind of do the same thing. Uh, and they did a show that was an NBC TV special called Hard Rain. It was recorded in Colorado. There's a live album of it called Hard Rain. And I think if you went on YouTube, you could probably watch the performance, like it's an hour long performance of all these songs. And he does a killer version of Maggie's Farm on that, if I remember. But yeah, that's just a great song. That's one of the songs he did at Newport with the Butterfield Blues Band when he got booed off the stage, supposedly booed off the
yeah.
stage. Love Minus Zeros, great song. Do you like Outlaw Blues on the Road Again and Bob Dylan's 115th Dream?
Yeah, so Bob Dylan's 115th Dream is fantastic. I mean, once again, basically this whole album hit me the first time I listened to it. I didn't really need to listen to it again to get it. But yeah, Bob Dylan's 115th Dream just knocked me out, you know, like crazy situation. I busted out of jail, don't even ask me how. All right, I won't. Yeah, great, great stuff.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say everything on here is great. I guess if I had a least favorite track, it would be On the Road Again, but still a great, great song.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. If I had to pick the weakest track on the album, that would be it.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with that. I like the second side better. I'm not that the first side's not fantastic, but I just love that second side's incredible with Mr.
Yeah.
Tambourine, Gates of Eden, and It's
Yeah.
All Right Ma, which is one of my top 10 Dylan songs of all time. Not to give anything away in my other video, and It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. I mean, they're just great songs.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so there was a couple of things like '64. Dylan was listening to the Beatles, right? So he was kind of going, "Hey, you know, they don't have the lyrics that I want to do, but they've got the music." And so I think between that, but now I don't think he wanted to be a pop guy like the Beatles were, but I know he was influenced by. Do you know John Hammond? Well, John Hammond Sr. was the guy who kind of signed him to Columbia Records and produced his first album. But John Hammond Jr., Hammond's son, was a blues guy who Dylan knew very well, and he would do acoustic blues songs in bars and stuff like that. And he had the idea of going electric with his blues songs. And he had met, from being in Canada, he had met the members of the band who were still playing with Ronnie Hawkins. So he recruited Robbie Robertson and I don't think all of the band, but maybe 3 or 4 of them, down to New York to come and do an album of electric blues, which came out in 1965 as well. But he was working on that project, and I know Dylan was watching that, and I think that's why Dylan got more heavy into the blues rock rather than pop But this is a So Many Roads album that John Hammond did with Robbie Robertson. Mike Bloomfield, who's an incredible guitar player and played on the Dylan, like Highway 61 and that, he came into the sessions, and because Robbie Robertson was there, he didn't even pick up his guitar, and he's an incredible guitarist and played piano on these sessions. But this is an incredible blues album, and I think it was a big influence on Bob's electric period. So Many Roads. What about next? Highway 61, which came out the same year. It's crazy. One was released in March, and I think this is released in August. I don't think I made notes here, but August 65, this comes out. Now, did you buy this one next?
Yeah, I ordered Highway 61 and Blonde on Blonde together in the same order.
Oh, okay.
I was so excited.
How far off after you got Bring It All Back Home did you buy the other two?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know the date. Like only a few weeks, really.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. They took a while. They took like a month and a half or 2 months to come. But
oh wow,
yeah,
that's crazy. So, what were your thoughts when you heard this?
yeah. So of course, once again, same thing as Bring It All Back Home. Starting off with such a great song and such a memorable, and everyone everyone knows it, and probably maybe his best song, like a Rolling Stone. Fantastic. I mean,
in my opinion, the greatest 45 ever made.
Yeah. I mean, it's, and what the B-side was Gates of Eden.
Yeah, Gates of Eden off of Bring It All Back Home.
Yeah. So extremely.
That's why I bought Bringing It All Back Home, because I bought the 45 when I heard it, and then I bought Highway 61, and then I had to go back and get Bring It All Back Home because it had a Gates of Eden on it.
Yeah. Great stuff. But then, I mean, getting into the other songs, of course, Tombstone Blues is another great one. It's like 6 minutes long or something like that, I think, if I'm not off on that. Great song. And I guess if I had a least favorite on here, it would be It Takes a Lot to Laugh, It Takes a Train to Cry. But once again,
you think that's their weak song on the album for you?
Well, no, there's no weak song on the album, but just if I had to pick a least favorite.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
They don't give the time to the songs on even on the label of the album. Maybe they do on the CD. I'm not sure.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I love It Takes a Lot to Laugh, It Takes a Train to Cry. One of my favorite songs on the album.
Yeah. Hey, no, it's a great song, but just if I sort of had a.
The sketch came with the record, by the way.
Oh.
It's kind of cool. I should frame that, actually.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, I don't think there's a weak song on this album, but I would take From a Buick 6 would be my least, if I had to pick one.
Okay.
Yeah, just because the other ones are also amazing.
Yeah, I love From a Buick 6. Great song. And a great like rhythm to it too, just with the main riff of it is I love that.
And Ballad of a Thin Man is just epic.
That was the one that stood out to me the most on first listen, actually.
Yeah.
Great song.
That was probably, well, besides Like a Rolling Stone, that was probably my favorite song when I first got the album, and still is one of my favorite Dylan songs. And Highway 61, I love that song too, the title song.
Yeah.
The Desolation Row is another, like, one of, just, like, it's up there. Yeah, that's an incredible song.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an amazing album, no doubt. And Mike Bloomfield, Al Cooper, Charlie McCoy. I mean, just great session players on here. Amazing.
Yeah,
Cool.
Destination Row, great song. My favorite on the album. And if you ask me, lyrics don't get much better than everyone is making love or else expecting rain.
Yeah.
I love that lyric.
Yeah, it's an incredible song. It just is. I love the harmonica part too. He plays the harmonica in that song really well. And then we've got, last but not least, Blonde on Blonde. Did you listen to them in order? So when Highway 61 and Blonde on Blonde came in, did you actually listen to them that way too? With Highway 61 first?
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I played them back to back. There was no hesitation between. So it was a pretty good day.
Yeah, no kidding. That's almost too much to absorb.
Yeah.
In one day. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, this album is a lot. There's a lot of information on these two pieces of vinyl here. Did you have songs that jumped out at you at first, or?
Yeah. Well, I listened to a compilation that you gave me that you had made. It had Rainy Day Woman on it, and I Want You was on there. A bunch of the songs on here, of course, some great albums. So you're gonna have a bunch on there. But so those were the ones that kind of on second listen, they're like, oh, I know this. Yeah, it's great stuff. But I mean, everything on here, of course. I mean, ending with one of the great songs he ever did. But yeah, just the whole thing, great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, Rainy Day Woman's a great opening track. Banned on the radio when it first came out because everybody must get stoned. You can say that. Pledging My Time, great blues song. Visions of Johanna, many consider his greatest song. Did you watch Jeff's breakdown of Visions of Johanna when he reviewed that song and
Oh no, I didn't.
lyrics? It's really good. Yeah. One of Us Must Know Sooner or Later, another one of my favorite Dylan songs. I Want You was a big hit for him. Stuck Inside a Mobile with the Memphis Blues Again, it's a great song. Leopard Skin Pillbox Hat is classic. I just love that line. It bounces on your head just like a mattress balances on a bottle of wine. Classic. Just Like a Woman, huge hit.
Yeah.
Temporarily Like Achilles. And then there's the song Fourth Time Around that's like Norwegian's kind of take on Norwegian Wood. Did you notice that when you first heard it, that it was like had that same chord progression and feel?
No, I'm ashamed. Such a big Beatles fan. I didn't notice that.
once you know, you listen to it and you go, oh man.
Yeah. You can't unhear it. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't. There's kind of two sides to the story. Whether Bob was trying to insult John with that, or trying to pay respect to John with that. So
Yeah. I don't see him insulting him.
yeah.
I don't know what is there to insult on Norwegian Wood. Such a great song.
Yeah. But almost like I can take that progression and make a better song, almost like a competition kind of a thing, maybe. And then, of course, Sad Eyed Lady to Lowland, which when it came out in '66 and was on, you got the record, and it took up a whole side of a record. That was like, never heard that before, unless like, I'm sure there's some jazz albums or something, but for pop albums, rock albums, that was unheard of. And it's such a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Blonde on Blonde is my second favorite album of all time behind Sgt. Pepper. So that never changes with me.
Yeah. It's a great album. And I just love the whole story of where the music was going and 65 and 66 and 67, those like that 3-year period where everything, the game was changing so fast. And
Yes.
they mention it in there's a Pet Sounds, they did a Pet Sounds 50th anniversary documentary. It's on Amazon Prime. I've watched it, and there's a part where they mention the progression of the music at that time, and how in 66 you had Pet Sounds and Blonde on Blonde and Revolver all coming out and changing the game each time.
Yeah.
And Blonde on Blonde definitely plays into that with all the, I mean, of course, Bob with his great lyrics, but then the great musicality and the layers of it in that album specifically, I think are just a step up, really.
And it's amazing, this album. I mean, they were working on this his other albums were recorded really quickly, like Bring It All Back Home was like a couple of days. I don't think Highway 61 was much more than that. And then this album took like 6 months.
Yeah.
And they were working on it in New York, and I just don't think it was coming together. And then the producer said, "Hey, let's go to Nashville. I know some musicians down there that this should be interesting." And they went down and took all the Nashville session musicians and just blew their minds. They didn't know Bob Dylan at all, and to come up with those arrangements pretty much on the spot, because Bob was sitting in another room typing up lyrics and then coming in going, "Okay, I got one," and then they'd figure out what to play with it, and it's just so tasteful. It just was magic. It really worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, incredible. It really is. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite of the 3 albums? If you rank, how do you rank? Oh, should we rank them?
Yeah, I guess we can rank them for sure. So I guess I'll start with my number 3, which when I first got it, I was thinking you'll never beat this. I mean, I know I heard like you, for example, talking about, your favorite Dylan albums, but when I heard this, I was like, oh, it doesn't get any better than this. But now it's my number 3, which is unbelievable to me. But yeah, my number 3, Bring It All Back Home.
Wow.
I mean, anyone would be over the moon to have this as their best album. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you could make an argument for any of the 3.
Yeah. I mean, that
No
second
wrong
side.
answers.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. Wow. I could close my eyes and pick between these because there's songs on both that I love. If I could take side 2, Bring It All Back Home, and then make a side of Like a Rolling Stone, Ballad of a Thin Man, just like Tom Thumb's Blues and Desolation Row, I'd have, Bringing It All Back to Highway 61. That would be the best album ever. So oh man, I don't even know how to do this. Yeah, I guess I gotta agree with you. That's gonna be number 3, but I mean they're a tie as far as I'm concerned. That's 2A and 2B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then well, I have the same kind of number 2, Highway 61.
Wow.
I mean, yeah,
Hey,
it's
you're
the same,
surprising me. You're
Yeah.
surprising me. Well, that's my number 2 as well, because everybody knows how much I love Blonde on Blonde. So Blonde on Blonde's your favorite, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised. I don't know why.
Well, it's your second favorite album of all time. There's got to be something to it, right?
Where do you rank it in the annals of music history?
I couldn't tell you. I have no
Top
idea.
10?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I seriously have no idea. I don't know how different artists and bands rank against each other. I have no idea.
Yeah. Tough question.
So that's like the last video we did for the album wars, I was like, oh man. So sometimes I would deliberately like do an easy one, like a really good album versus one of the, like Hotel California I said was my least favorite. So we put like,
yeah.
I don't know what we said, but one of the really good ones up against it. So I could easily just pick the one. Hard for me. So I have no idea.
Okay, I'm waiting for your ranking video, best albums of all time.
Yeah.
I challenge you.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously the musical importance of it, like I just said, with the times of those years, and yeah, just the amazing arrangements in there. It gotta be, I don't know about favorite, but best. It's gotta be top 10
Yeah.
at least.
Well, it's crazy, like 65, 66, like you said, with Revolver and Pet Sounds and the Dylan albums, and then 67, everything explodes even more.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, 66 was a kind of the year, I think, that it all kind of, you know,
Yeah.
just took off. And then 67, like with Sergeant Pepper's,
Yeah.
and Hendrix came out, and Cream, and it just went nuts.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
all, I mean, big part of that was like just Dylan and the Beatles playing off each other.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles with Rubber Soul, listening to like the Freewheeling, or, you know, doing that type of lyric. It's just the musical progression in the 60s is just fantastic to think about.
Yeah. Okay, I got to ask you, I'm very curious. Where does your Dylan journey go next? Does it go back? Does it go forward?
Well, I was looking at kind of the ones that people rank up there as the best. I was thinking probably the Freewheeling was going to be next, but it could go to the 70s with Blood on the Tracks. I have no idea. You know, there's some great albums that I could go with, or even just like right after Blonde on Blonde with John Wesley Harding. No idea where it goes next, but we shall find out.
Yeah, well, it's a long journey.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be Blood on the Tracks, just because it's, I mean, you get a lot of arguments that that's his greatest album.
Yeah.
And Freewheeling is, yeah. I mean, if you like the folky stuff, right? Just acoustic guitar and Bob singing.
Yeah.
4 albums are the way to go too. But yeah, I would think Blonde on Blonde. But then you got, yeah, but then you got the night. You know, when he kind of reinvented himself in '97 with Time Out of Mind and the stuff that came after that.
Yeah.
But his voice is totally different then, and it's just a totally different Bob Dylan. So it's going to be an interesting journey. I'm going to be really interested to see what you do next.
Yeah, me too. I have no idea.
That's very cool. Have you watched No Direction Home yet on Netflix?
No.
Oh, you should give it a shot.
I keep looking at music documentaries to watch. I should, because I keep going to Amazon Prime and trying to find one of those, you know, that series classic albums where they just discuss the one album.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the one for Rumors yet, so I was thinking about watching that next. And
oh, okay.
Yeah. But
that's Amazon Prime shows all those classic rock albums.
Yeah.
Specials. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
They've got a bunch. They've got I actually started to watch the one on Disraeli Gears. I didn't finish it. I watched the one on Plastic Ono Band they have on there. Yeah, they have a bunch. Yeah, great stuff.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't have Amazon Prime, so
yeah,
that's pretty interesting. Wow. Well, I don't know what else to say about Bob other than Monday's a big day.
Yeah, for sure.
80 years. You know, I sent him a letter asking for his autograph. He hasn't said, I haven't got anything back yet. So, Bob, you're disappointing me. I know you're watching. What else is there to do? So what are we doing next? We took a week break this time, but we're trying to do this weekly. Where are we going next?
Yeah, we've had a few ideas, just thinking about artists and bands we both love, and talking about a run of albums or just a general discussion, whatever it is. I think the one we've been sort of talking about the most, though, is to do those first like 6 albums from King Crimson.
Oh, okay. I would love to do that. That sounds good. So
I just hope there's enough of an audience out there.
King Crimson is announcing their tour dates on June 7th. And I saw the places where they are going to play. They just haven't said what dates yet. But they said the tour would be from August to in September. And one of the places is Orlando, Florida. And I will be in Orlando, Florida in August or September. So if they announce the date on June 7th and I can get a ticket, I'm going.
Yeah.
That would be very cool.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, Jack, another video.
Yeah. I guess we kept this one a bit more concise. Wasn't bad.
Bit more concise. Yes. As you get more Dylan albums, we'll have a longer one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested more than anything in following your Dylan journey. It's going to be interesting to see where you go.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Jack, thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for having
see
me.
you
Great.
next week with maybe King Crimson. We'll talk soon. Take care.